Listen, I have been teaching combat protocol at the Helix 7 Military Academy for 17 cycles. And in all that time, I have never, and I mean never, seen anything quite as ridiculous as what happened with the human. But I am getting ahead of myself. Let me back up. My name is Torin, and yes, before you ask, I am what you would call a reptilian species. 4 arms, scales that can deflect most small arms fire, and a jaw that can crack through steel plating. I am, by all accounts, intimidating, so when I tell you that what I witnessed made my scales go pale, you should probably pay attention. It started on a Tuesday. Well, not your Tuesday. Obviously, we do not measure time like that out here. But for the sake of this story, let us call it Tuesday, because the human, Maya Chen, later told me that all the worst things happen on Tuesdays back on Earth. And honestly, after what I saw, I believe her. The combat training hall was packed. 47 students from 16 different species, all gathered for Instructor Vekmol's Advanced Defensive Tactics class. Vekmol was a Cretarian, which meant he stood roughly 8 feet tall, had bone protrusions covering most of his body like natural armor, and possessed the kind of disposition that made most students check their life insurance policies before attending his classes. He hated humans. Wait, hate is too mild a word. He despised humans with the kind of passion usually reserved for ancient blood feuds or really bad cafeteria food. And Maya, well, she was the only human at Helix 7, which meant she got the full force of his contempt on a daily basis. That Tuesday, Vekmol decided he had had enough. Chen, his voice boomed across the training hall, and I swear the temperature dropped 3 degrees. Front and center. Now Maya had been stretching in the corner, doing some bizarre human flexibility exercise that made her look like she was trying to fold herself into a shipping container. She stopped, stood up, and walked over with this casual stride that suggested she had all the time in the universe. Her dark hair was pulled back in what she called a ponytail. Her training uniform was spotless and her face completely neutral. That should have been Vekmol's first warning. You have failed every single combat simulation for 3 months, Vekmol snarled, leaning down so his face was level with hers. Bone spurs on his chin scraped against each other, making this awful grinding sound. Your species is weak, fragile. You have no natural weapons, no armor, no enhanced senses. You are prey pretending to be predators. Around the hall, other students shifted uncomfortably. Clea, an insectoid from Sector 9, clicked her mandibles nervously. Boris, whose Aven species prided themselves on honor, ruffled his feathers in what I had learned was disapproval. Maya just stood there, looking up at Vekmol with those dark brown eyes that never seems to blink at the right times. I am recommending your immediate expulsion, Vekmol continued, clearly enjoying himself now. You will return to your little planet and tell them that humanity has no place among the warrior races of this galaxy. You will tell them that you are fit only for farming and manual labor and whatever other menial tasks your soft little hands can manage. Here's where it got interesting. Maya smiled. Not a big smile, not some aggressive baring of teeth, just a small, knowing smile that touched the corners of her mouth and made her eyes crinkle slightly. Vekmol's bone spurs stopped grinding, his 3 eyes narrowed in confusion. This was not the reaction he expected. He wanted tears or anger or fear. The smile was not part of his script. Something amusing, human, he growled, and I could hear the danger in his voice. So could everyone else. The hall went completely silent, except for the hum of the ventilation systems. Instructor Vekmol, Maya said, and her voice was calm. Too calm. The kind of calm that prey animals definitely do not possess. I think you should reconsider your position. Oh no. Oh no, no, no. I wanted to yell at her, to tell her to back down, to apologize, to do anything except challenge him. But I just stood there frozen, watching this tiny human stand her ground against a being that could literally tear her apart with his bare hands. Vekmol laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. Reconsider. You're telling me to reconsider? A failed student is giving me advice? He took a step closer, invading her space, using his size to intimidate. Give me one reason why I should not throw you out of this academy right now. Maya's smile grew just a fraction wider. Because you have not met my beast yet. The hall went even quieter, which I had not thought was possible. Several students exchanged confused glances. Beast? What beast? Humans did not have beasts. They barely had claws. Vecmol's confusion turned to rage. Are you mocking me, human? Not at all, Instructor, Maya replied, still with that infuriating calm. I am simply suggesting that before you threaten me again, you should meet him. Kaiser does not like it when people threaten me. He gets, well, protective. Kaiser. Vecmol repeated the name like it tasted bad. What manner of weapon is this Kaiser? Some pathetic human technology? A drone? A robot? No, Maya said softly, and for the first time I saw something flicker in her eyes, something that made my survival instinct scream danger. He is family. And that's when everything went completely insane. Okay, I know what you were thinking. Torin, you said this happened on a Tuesday, and now you're jumping back 3 months. What kind of story structure is this? Trust me, you need context, because what happened next makes absolutely no sense without understanding how we got there. Maya Chen arrived at Helix 7 on a transport ship from Earth, carrying exactly 2 bags and wearing an expression that I can only describe as mildly interested. Not excited, not nervous, just interested, like she was visiting a moderately entertaining museum instead of joining the most prestigious military academy in 7 sectors. The docking bay was crowded with new students. There was Hector, a Maloian whose species was literally made of living stone. There was Cynthia, whose people could generate electromagnetic pulses from their bodies. There was Quayla, whom I mentioned earlier, whose exoskeleton could withstand pressures that would crush most ships. And then there was Maya, 5 foot 6 inches of soft skin and fragile bones and absolutely no visible natural defenses whatsoever. We all thought the same thing. She wouldn't last a week. The academy administrators thought so too, which is why they assigned her the worst quarters, the earliest training sessions, and Vecmol as her primary instructor. It wasn't official policy to weed out the weak, but it wasn't not official policy either, if you know what I mean. Maya took it all with that same mild interest. Failed the first combat simulation. Mild interest. Got accidentally shoved into a wall by Hector during formation drills. Mild interest. Had her meal rations mistakenly given to another species. You guessed it, mild interest. But here's the thing that nobody noticed except me, and I only noticed because my species has exceptional peripheral vision. Whenever something happened to Maya, whenever someone pushed her or mocked her or sabotaged her equipment, she would tap her communication band 3 times, just 3 quick taps, and then she would smile that same small smile and go about her day. I asked her about it once, about 2 weeks into the semester. We were in the commissary and I had just watched Boras accidentally spill corrosive cleaning fluid near her table. The tapping, I said, sitting down across from her with those bizarre twin utensils humans call forks, and gave me that smile. I'm just checking in with my companion, letting him know I'm okay. Companion? I asked. I thought humans traveled alone to the academy, no support staff permitted. Kaiser is not staff, he's a friend, she said, stabbing a piece of protein with more force than necessary, and he's very, very patient, but his patience has limits. I should have asked more questions. I should have investigated further, but I didn't, because I'm an idiot. And because at that moment, Vecmol walked into the commissary and Maya's expression went from mild interest to absolute stone. Over the next 3 months, the pattern continued. Maya failed every combat simulation. She never complained. She never fought back against the constant harassment. She just tapped her comm band, smiled, and waited. The other students started to relax around her. If Maya was going to break, she would have broken by now. They figured she was harmless, weak, pathetic really, but in a non-threatening way. Vecmol, however, only got angrier. It was like her refusal to break offended him on some personal level. He started singling her out more aggressively, criticizing her form, her speed, her strength. He made her run extra drills, carry heavier equipment, endure longer training sessions. Maya just kept smiling and tapping her comm band. 3 quick taps. Tap, tap, tap. I asked her about it again about 6 weeks before the Tuesday incident. We were in the commissary late at night. I had forgotten some equipment and came back to retrieve it. Maya was there alone, practicing hand-to-hand combat forms against a training dummy. "You're getting better," I said, because she was. Her movements were sharper, more precise. She stopped mid-strike and turned to me. "Thank you, Torin." "The simulations don't reflect it," I added. "No," she agreed, "they don't. So why keep trying? Why not transfer to a technical program or a diplomatic track, something more suited to human capability?" Maya walked over to a bench and sat down, her breathing heavy,